Kincaid versus Gibson in 2001. That we are dealing with the issue to the first rights of the KSU students, along with Kincaid and Coffer, the student editors of the yearbook The Thoroughbred at Kentucky State University here in Kentucky, where they violated when the KSU officials confiscated The Thoroughbred, the yearbook. So did those First Amendment rights get violated? Kincaid and Coffer were some of the students that ran the 1992-1994 yearbook at Kentucky State University. Defendant Betty Gibson, KSU's Vice President of Student Affairs, and Smith, KSU's Board of Regents, in 1995 confiscated the 92-94 student yearbook. The university refused to publish the yearbook due to the fact that the cover was a different color from the university. It was purple, and KSU's colors are gold and green, and also for the fact that this was ran in the decade where people were all about their freedom of speech and the ability to express themselves, which come in the freedom of expression category. They did not, the Board of Regents and the Student Affairs did not like the way that Coffer and Kincaid decided to create the yearbook expressing the student body, and they decided to confiscate it because it wasn't under what the university liked. The declaration of the 10-3 decision for Kincaid and for the student body was made because, one, the yearbook is not a classroom activity. It is not a graded activity. Therefore, the university can't censor that because it is outside the university policies. And also, in the student handbook at the university, that comes along the lines of your freedom of speech and your ability to express yourself. The second ruling on that fact was the freedom of speech was violated when they censored it. It is a government-ran institution, it is a state-ran institution versus a private institution. At private institutions and universities, they have the ability to censor things because they are not ran under a government control. Whereas at a state university like KSU, UK, University of Wisconsin, the University of Maine, places like that that are government ran, the government has the censorship and the law over that. And that's where our First Amendment rights comes in. Our First Amendment says there will be no government laws that declare what religion, what speech, how you should act, things along those lines are not censored. Therefore, the KSU was outside of the law when it censored the student handbook, the student yearbook, the Thoroughbred. The court said the censorship of the Thoroughbred interrupted and did not allow students to exist in an atmosphere of free and responsible discussion and intellectual exploration. So basically, KSU rejected the First Amendment and the student freedom of expression, which ultimately led to the 10-3 decision delivered by Cole for the plaintiff, Kincaid. We also have the courts. It was a constructionist theory. There was 3 other cases that it was based on. You have the case of Hazelwood, which there was also with a newspaper there. And you also have the Board of Regents of the University of Wisconsin versus Southworth in 2000. And the Student Government Association versus the Board of Trustees at the University of Massachusetts in 1989. Those were the 3 philosophies that this case was based off of, and ultimately this decision was made upon. Also, looking into the future after this case, which was in 2001, you have the Hosty versus Carter in 2003, which was ruling in the 7-4, which is what also went for the students and the freedom of expression and the freedom of speech. Then again, this case, it totally violated the First Amendment rights as long as also the right of expressions. This is Kincaid versus Gibson in 2001 with a 10-3 ruling for the plaintiff, Kincaid.